Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Hypertrophy Odyssey. It is the fourth day of the week, aka the Buster Cannon workout. I'm feeling very good right now, very excited for this workout. But, anyways, to the main subject matter for today, influencerflation. There you go, that's the word I was trying to get out. The main reason why I want to discuss this is because in all niches, it seems as though that the mass need in order to get to the edges has gotten very crazy. I think that I see it personally in the bodybuilding realm, which we will get to in the voiceover. But I talk to my brother all the time. He's a big runner, and he's seeing it somewhat in the running space. So that's something where I'm like, okay, this is it's not necessarily that far removed from the gym, like bodybuilding, but it's also it's a different niche. Like running is something else, right? And then as well, I watched recently a video about live streamers and the things that they do in order to game the algorithm. So that's another thing that's very becoming niched out in a certain sense. But we'll get there when we get there. The main reason why I want to discuss this is because it seems as though things are being pushed to the extremes at all ends, really, where the inflation of many things is happening to the point now where you're not even going to get close to anywhere unless you are doing all these weird tactics or just crazy stunts. And I'm not going to talk about the stunts, but more so just like the actual like ends of them and how the changing of the norm has gotten to from like the 0.1% to the 0.00000000001% being the new norm for some reason. And it's kind of interesting because it's all niches I feel like are getting this pumped down into them. There isn't necessarily one that isn't feeling this weird. Maybe tech, but even tech is a little different. I think I'll talk about that too. But this is a very interesting thing just because obviously we feel it when it comes to, money and how it's not worth as nearly as much as it once was. But that's more of a real world thing. Seeing it within the online realm, especially with content that you consume, very interesting stuff. So we'll talk about that and a few other things when we get to other base.
I should start this day off with leg extensions, which were pretty good. But anyways, back to the main subject matter at hand. Influencerification, inflation, or whatever the fuck I decided to call this. So the main reason why I wanted to discuss this is because, like I said, I've seen this throughout many different niches. And I think that at the end of the day, this is the biggest issue is that this has crept into all niches where there has been a massive increase in what is considered now the new bog standard or whatever it is crept up in inflationary terms. So then that way the things that you have to do are kind of crazier and crazier. Not only is it in all niches, but it seems as though everybody is almost fatigued of this becoming a new norm. Something that happens in the niche that I'm currently in, which is bodybuilding, is what is considered a good physique inflation is the right term. What is considered a good physique in comparison to what was considered a good physique maybe 10-15 years ago. Something like the original Spider-Man all of a sudden is seen as a not so good physique on Tobey Maguire, which was like 2003, and nowadays that's seen like you are a skinny little bitch, of course. And that's the thing, is that these things have grown exorbitantly out of proportion just in the physique goals, and it warps people's minds. And this is just within my niche. This isn't necessarily even that crazy, but even then people will look at something like that and think, oh yes, this isn't that crazy of a physique anymore. And you could see this with people having regular ass physiques that are decent but all of a sudden are seen as nothing, especially when you walk into the bodybuilding realm. It seems as though do you even lift is the main question. And this isn't just here, but something adjacent to this is my brother, who is a big runner. He sends me reels all the time about runners doing different crazy like marathons, ultras, and all these things where it's like, I think there was one guy who was doing like an ultra like every day for like 100 days or some shit like that. And it's just like, Jesus, what are we going to get to? You know what I mean? Like, especially when it comes to that type of stuff where people are like, oh, if your easy run isn't 10 to 15 miles, what are you even doing? It's like, brother, what are you even talking about here? Like, you know, there's obviously a spectrum to it, but it's to the point where people keep pushing the limits to what is considered even normal, that now if you aren't running at least two ultras a month, you're kind of seen as a bitch. And it's kind of like, what the fuck happened to running? I'm not even a part of that, but I can tell that this shit was crazy. I remember hearing about what running 100 miles like 5-6 years ago and thinking this is the most insane thing ever. It's such a niche thing. I highly doubt it'll get that serious. But now it's a common thing. People have their own fucking teams doing that type of shit. And this is just one little niche where people will start doing crazy shits, or marathons where all of a sudden you have to eat Taco Bell every mile for 26 miles. And for some reason, people will want to participate in something like this just because it's an extreme level of challenge. But in reality, the challenge is scarfing down that much Taco Bell, not the actual running part of it, which should be the challenge in theory. But that's where things have just kind of gone off the rails, and you can see it in all facets of social media, making it so that all of these things have just grown in inflation regardless of where you're at. Now it's just like something even like video games. It's not necessarily how you do them, it's how you play them, how quickly you can beat them, and or your skill level being through the fucking roof, being the ability for you to actually get an audience. And now the regular stories of people that are actually normal, maybe trying to get to a certain level, is no longer valid in order to be able to get anything or any type of notoriety. They've just pushed the bar, and the bar keeps getting pushed. And you could see it just keep going and going up until the point where it's even reaching things like degenerate style things where it's like, okay, let me just gamble $1 million because this is all I have. I'm going to max out all my credit cards to gamble on this one thing. Oh, wait. Never mind, it's already fucked. And people will continue to do that type of stuff, and you could just see how it's just gonna keep rising no matter what happens, unless either we put an end to social media or we put an end to giving these things attention. But they're curated to take our attention, so we are between a rock and a hard place when it comes to this type of stuff.
And we're back. Welcome to the workout debriefing. Exercises not filmed, not exercises skipped, also none got everything in, thankfully. But anyways, back to the main subject matter for today. Influencerflation, or just not shrinkflation, but like, what is it? Inflation of certain niches, basically. So the main reason why I wanted to discuss this is because, like I said, I had a video that my brother sent me where people were just kind of like the idea of just keep on like running more and more, to the point where running is getting to like where if you're not running marathons every weekend, or like if that's not your like regular style cool down, if like 10 miles is like a nothing run, it's like you're pushing the limits to what would be regular running. And the same thing is happening in bodybuilding as well, where the physiques that would have been like 10 years 20 years ago, something like a Batman Begins is considered like weak and terrible. You know, it's like, it's pretty crazy where the inflation for all of these things have happened, and it's because of social media pushing the edges of these things to the forefront and making it so that the things have to be pushed along to the maximum extreme. See anything for views right here. I think that it's like there's going to be like a weird pushback, you know. I know that I've made a video of I've made at least one video about looks maxing right here, and I know that that's like the end state of something, but I feel like the opposite will happen soon enough, where looks minimizing will take over. There's even certain people that are already starting to do that, where there's a weird pendulum swing, and I think that that's going to be the issue with a lot of this stuff, particularly when it comes to like physical fitness, or just anything physical, and any other type of like self-improvement type of thing. People are going to kind of go in the opposite direction in a certain sense, where they're going to go like, oh, if I can't have a perfect physique, then fuck it, I'm going to have a fat physique. Or, you know, oh, I can't run, like I'm not going to run 75 miles every day, so I'm going to run no miles a day, you know, and change everything pivot wise, especially when you want to try to do something within the social media bound, because it would be nice to do it, because a lot of people like to do something like this, or would would want to do this for life, but other people don't really have the drive or the willpower, but also not the interest that you would have to have nowadays, where you have to be super super niche and or like take one video and redo it 75 times and hope to God that all of them blow up, you know. And it's a very crazy circumstance. And in this realm, specifically the bodybuilding realm, it's very interesting to see how body dysmorphia inflation has really gotten to the point where people are perma lean or never really willing to change their body because of the image that they might look, because all of a sudden they might lose followers because of a bulk. You know, it's very interesting that people will never really change in their physique, especially if they are natural, because they are unwilling to let go of the abs or the leanness. And it kind of shitty in a certain sense, because unfortunately the algorithm will punish you for doing something like that. So you can't really, it's a lose-lose situation, but sometimes you kind of have to bite the bullet and understand that it will probably be better for you in the long run in the muscle building aspect of it. And I can only imagine what a cool down run would be like, you know, like maybe instead of doing like a half marathon, maybe do like a 5K, and there you go as a cool down, you know, let your joints live, you know, maybe that one, what is it, maybe that one 5K that you ran will help you run for an extra 5 months in life, you know, just shit like that. And it's very much a nose to the grindstone type of thing. And it's I think it's innate in a lot of people, where we try to push it to the limit as much as we can and then take it further. And there's nothing necessarily wrong with that, but I think that they see something that is what they would consider, somebody doing what they would consider the limit, and then they say, okay, time to one up it. And by doing that, it's just it's going to lead to disaster, I think, personally, and or just in general, really. It'll just lead to disaster, because you're going to have people who don't want to do the thing now because the bar to entry has become so high. It's like, what's the point? It's like as if all musicians all of a sudden became Mozart or something like that, where everybody has like genius IQ levels of musical talent, and now all of a sudden everybody else who wants to become a musician has to get on that level, or else you're done, you know. And that'd be pretty fucking rough, you know. But that's the power and manipulation that social media can have on people, and it's very powerful. But with that being said, tell me your thoughts and opinions in the comment section down below. If you have any ideas or a random story where this is happening, or you're seeing something where it's taken to extreme levels, please let me know in the comment section down below. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Please share this video with anybody who may or may not like it. I will be back on tomorrow with a new video. Thank you very much for watching. I really do appreciate it. We'll see you in the next one. Keep it heavy. Stay safe out there and stay warm. And I'll see you in the next one. Peace.